The brand new class mod Green Monster is out for the Moxxi DLC, and today I'm going to share with you guys my Green Monster Moze build, which is going to have you turning into the Hulk. This is LaserBolt, and welcome to today's video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at a build for the brand new class mod called the Green Monster. Now, this is part of the Moxxi DLC, and you'll be able to get this as a world drop, so as long as you're in the DLC, this might drop for you guys. Now, this is a really good class mod, and what makes this class mod really good is the fact that it gives you the following attributes. It says, after firing her weapon for a few seconds, Moze's weapon gains bonus corrosive damage. The longer she continually fires her weapon, the greater the bonus. Due to the fact that the Moxxis Heist has a ton of yellow bars or armor enemies, this particular class mod is fundamental for this particular build. Not only that, but it's actually really good for fighting and killing bosses due to the fact that we're going to be bumping into a lot of yellow bars. And with the build that I put together, guys, it's not going to matter if you guys are running too many corrosive weapons due to the fact that the synergy I placed together in the build is going to have you killing everything that stands your way, whether it be a red bar, yellow bar, blue bar, or any other bar that presents your way. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into this build and find out exactly the gear and the skill tree you're going to need to put together to get this working. Alright, so here we are in the skill tree, fellas. We're going to start off with Demolition Woman skill tree. We're going to be dumping 5 points into fire into the skag dens. Whenever Moze deals splash damage, she deals bonus incendiary damage. Now, this is very important for you guys to pay attention to this particular one, because splash damage is going to turn into incendiary damage. So regardless of the weapon we're using, as long as we're doing splash damage, we're going to be able to have incendiary damage helping us with those fleshies, which are the red bars. Next, guys, we're going to be dumping 3 points into Grizzled. Now, this is a kill skill, which is going to reduce our cooldown time for our action skills. So that means our Iron Bear is going to be fully active. Then we're going to do 3 points into Mean of Destruction. Once again, dealing more splash damage. And when we do the splash damage, there's a great chance to add damage to the current weapon we have equipped. This is going to avoid us running out of ammo, so it's really important. Then we're going to be dumping 3 points into Pull the Holy Pin. Moses Grenades has a chance to score a critical hit. Now, it's very important that you pay attention to this, because our grenade is going to give us a crit hit. And when we get a crit hit, it's going to give us a couple of benefits as we progress through the build. Then we have a 1 point into Auto Bear. This is going to be fundamental too, because Auto Bear is going to be used for 2 things. One, it's going to be used to be able to, kind of deter the enemy and kind of be used as a, kind of a distraction. And number 2, it's going to allow us to apply even extra damage with our weapon. So you're going to want to make sure you have this one equipped. Next up, guys, we're dumping 5 points into Vampire. And this is pretty much what it's going to allow us to do, is that when we throw a grenade, we're going to be able to restore a portion of the missing health from Iron Bear, which is really good. So it's going to give us that survivability. Then we're going to be dumping 5 points into Explosive Punctuation. What this is going to do, once again, dealing splash damage, and that's going to increase our action's cooldown rate. So we're going to be able to get our Iron Bear back very frequently, almost indefinitely. I would say I never have, while playing with this particular build, there hasn't been a time where my Iron Bear hasn't been available for me. So it's there almost every single time. I'm going to say 99%, because for some reason, let's say you guys don't get it for one time. I don't want to say you're sure I say 100, and then you're like, well, I didn't get it this time. So 99% your Iron Bear will be active. Last but not least, guys, we're picking up Short Fuse. What this is going to do, it's going to increase our gun damage, and it's going to allow it to have a secondary explosion within the target, which is really good. And that's why we're picking this one up. Now onto the Bottomless mag tree. Now, this is where a lot of stuff is going to be happening, and a lot of synergy. We're going to be dumping 5 points into Cloud of Lead. This is going to give us incendiary damage, and it's going to allow us to not consume the ammo, which makes it really important. Then we're going to do a total of 3 points to Stoke the Ember. Once again, incendiary damage is going to help us with those fleshies. And then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Redistribution. So once again, if we score a critical hit chance, it's going to allow us to regenerate the ammo. Remember how I said earlier on the other skill tree that our grenades were going to give us critical hit damage? So when we throw our grenade and it gets that critical hit damage, this is going to allow us to get some ammo back with our grenades, which makes it very good. We're going to dump 1 point into Scrappy. This is just improving our weapon handling and weapon swap speed. We're not going to be swapping too many weapons, but our handling is quite important. Then we're going to have 5 points into scorching RPM. What this is going to allow us to do, it's going to increase our fire rate and our critical hit damage. Now, this is important because as you guys see here, we have 8. So our fire rate is getting increased, so that means our weapon's going to be shooting a lot faster. That's going to be very important because of the weapon we're using. Then we're going to get plus 32 critical hit damage, and remember, our grenades are applying critical hit damage, so that's a plus 32 with our grenades on damage. And we're also getting the iron bearing damage plus 40, so this is actually pretty good. Then we're going to be doing a total of 5 points into the iron bank. Once again, increasing the magazine size, so it's going to make our weapon almost have indefinite ammo. And last but not least, guys, we are applying 2 points into Click Click. This is going to increase our gun damage, but thanks to our class mod, we have it topped off to 3 points. Now, theoretically speaking, I have not been able to find a class mod with a higher than +1 for Click Click. If you guys happen to come across one, let me know, because it might synergize a little bit better. I definitely want to see if there's one with 3. Because this gun damage would be exponential. But now that we saw the skill tree, actually before we go into the gear, I do want to talk to you guys about what you want to equip here. So you want to equip for your Iron Bear Vanquishing Rocket Pots. And the reason why we're equipping these is because we're going to be tapping into this augment that's going to allow us that when we hit an enemy with the augment or with the targeting softening, it's going to apply plus 15 extra damage to that particular enemy. Works really good when we fight badasses or any enemy that's really tanky. We hop on our Iron Bear, shoot to the rockets, hop out of our Iron Bear, and spray them with our gun, and they are melted like crazy. All right, so now let's take a look at our gears. So for our gear, guys, our first weapon is the Kibesworth. Now this is going to be a requirement for this particular build due to the fact that we're going to be running corrosive damage. The reason why we're running corrosive damage on this one is because corrosive damage is extremely powerful with this build. I was thinking of calling this the Hulk build or the Toxinator or Toxic Girl. I still haven't figured out which one I'm going to go with, but the title I'm definitely putting in there. So whatever I went with, it's one of those 3. But basically what we want to do is we want to run corrosive damage here. And the reason why we want to run corrosive damage is because our class mod is going to be giving us a big advantage and increasing the power of the corrosive damage. In addition to that, this weapon does splash damage, so we're getting a plus 75 splash damage radius with this weapon, which is going to help us a ton due to the fact that we are going to be able to increase the amount of damage we do with corrosive. So want to make sure you guys have a Kibesworth with corrosive damage. In addition to that, we are getting 125% splash damage increase for a short period of time. This lasts like about 10 seconds. So every time we exit Iron Bear, we're going to be getting an increase of 125 damage. So this is really important that you guys keep in mind. So on top of the 75 splash damage radius that we're having, we're getting an increase of 125, giving us a ton of damage with this particular weapon. Now the next weapon we have is the Ogre, and this is actually another really good weapon. This one I just have it here primarily when we are not doing too many things in the Moxxi Heist. This is actually pretty good on other sets of areas, and it's going to be quite exponential for you guys. Last but not least, guys, the other weapon we're running is the Quickie, and the reason why we're running this Quickie is because this is actually a really beastly rocket launcher, and you're going to want to make sure that when you shoot this, you run it in the sticky mode. In addition to that, guys, we have on action skill splash damage is increased by 125. You're going to want to use this rocket launcher only when you're fighting a armored enemy. So after you bring down the shield from a boss in the Moxxi Heist or any other boss, switch over to this particular rocket and you guys should be good to go and cause a ton of damage with the explosion and splash damage they're going to be getting off of this one. So you're going to be getting a ton of splash damage. Especially make sure you do this after you exit your Iron Bear so you can do even more damage. And this weapon right here, I just have it because it's a pretty good weapon. But since we're working primarily on splash damage, this does not do any splash damage, but it's still a really good weapon, and I wanted to just mention it out there. Now let's talk about the gears. So we're running the Transformer for this one. You can run any other set of a shield, but when I put my builds together, I want to give you guys the most optimal build where I believe you won't be dying too much. So the Transformer is actually pretty good, and we want an anointment that gives us a a specific amount of damage when our action skill ends. Because remember, we're going to be hopping on Iron Bear. When we exit Iron Bear, we're going to be proccing this 50% bonus. So we're running corrosive here because this is a corrosive build. So we're going to be doing a ton of amount of corrosive damage, especially once we talk about the class mod. In addition to that, guys, we are running the Hex Grenade, and we're running this with a different element. You could run this with a different element, so you could run this with cryo damage, shock damage, but I actually like this one because since our grenade is going to be getting lobbed a lot due to the fact that we want to make sure we're getting our ammo back, getting those crit hits, I like this that when we throw a grenade, our action skill damage is increased since our Iron Bear is going to be out with Iron Bear, with our Auto Bear, and since our weapon is also going to get increased and our grenade damage is also going to get increased by 25% for 6 seconds, it's really important to have this one right here. I think this is the best, kind of the best anointment you could get, especially for Moze, since she just automatically has a ton of grenades to dish out. Now to talk about the thing that puts everything together, and that is the green monster. The Grinch, the green monster. This one's actually a beastie one because this is what it does. It says after firing her weapon for a few seconds, Moze's weapon gains bonus corrosive damage. So we're going to be getting more bonus on corrosive damage and tying anything together. The longer she continually fires her weapon, the greater the bonus. And since we're almost indefinitely having to reload with our weapon, we're going to be doing a ton of damage with this particular build. Now, we are fortunate enough to have gotten one with plus 25 weapon damage. So our SMG is going to get increased by 25%, and any other weapon that we're using here is getting increased as well. We have a plus 31 SMG damage, so we're going to be doing at least 50% more damage with our SMG or the Kibes. Plus, we have a plus 10 Mallywang weapon damage. So it's going to be doing 60% on our SMG. Basically, our SMG is going to be used throughout the entire game, and it's quite exponentially really effective, actually, due to the fact that this one comes with shock and also with corrosive. And last but not least, guys, to tie everything together, we're running the Deathless. This is going to reduce our health to 1%, but it's going to give our shield a maximum amount of health. We have this with a plus 40 magazine size, which is extremely awesome. We have a maximum shield of 1066, which is really cool too, extending our shield capacity. And we have a plus 16 corrosive damage, so once again increasing our corrosive damage, which makes this build tie in perfectly. So how exactly do you want to play with this build? Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. In order for you to be optimal with this particular build, guys, you want to make sure you have two things in mind. You want to make sure you hop on your Iron Bear. Once you hop on your Iron Bear, you want to make sure you shoot your volleys with the Iron Bear. Make sure you target enemies that you want to make sure you, that are a little bit harder to kill, so you can tap into that 15% additional damage after they get hit with the volleys. After you do that, what you want to do is hop out of your Iron Bear, lob a grenade so you can tap into that extra damage when your grenade is thrown for 6 seconds, and then fire away with your Kibes, and you will be able to defeat anything that stands your way, regardless of whatever bar, shield, or armor they have. And this is going to have you having a ton of fun. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of the build? Is there anything you would change or add? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't worry, guys, for all of you guys who run Zane, Flak, and Amara, I have builds for the brand new class mods as well. Definitely do check them out. Once again, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Don't forget to drop a like and share the video with your friends, because that does help us out a lot. And I will catch you guys on the next video.